Question?
Anything on film from that game that was different than your immediate?
Yeah. I mean, I think that some of the one thing I will say is I feel like they have a very good D line. That's a very well coached, very good defense, and I thought we got their best. They brought it, and I thought we played hard. I thought that they won some battles and we lost some battles at times, some one-on-ones that led to some negative plays. But and some of the sacks I thought were a combination of things on sometimes the line, but sometimes the quarterback. So we got to fix that and we got to get better at that. But I was happy. Our ball security was better, and it was cold, windy day, and we were able to find a way to win, which was important for all of us.
On those sacks, and when we talk about the offensive line, we talk about rules. What about the receivers? Do they ever figure into that as far as their route running, or has that not been a problem?
Yeah, I mean, maybe sometimes if it's you call the wrong play into a bad look and there's nothing there for the quarterback. That's happened this year. Or a guy lines up or takes the wrong release, that can affect something. I know we had one against Ole Miss that happened with the wide receiver. But overall, I think that it has not been good enough, but it's been a combination of things at different times, and we've dropped back and thrown it probably a little more than they have in the past year, and we've struggled at times to hold up, and we have to get better at that. It has to improve in the long run. But I like the way we practice today. I say it every week. I thought Will was smart in the fact that I don't mind taking a sack rather than throwing it into coverage. Sometimes it's okay to go down, and I thought he did a better job of getting rid of the football when he needed to in this game as well.
You talked so much about your tight end depth going into the year. What does it say about Jordan and Josh that the two youngest guys in that room have taken such a big share of the snaps of that position?
It says a lot about how good they are, because those other players are good players too, and they're proven players. I mean, Bates has been banged up this year and it's affected him, but they've earned that right through just really solid play, whether it's blocking or route running or pass catching or the reliability, the availability, all of it. Those guys they got a lot of grit. They're really special, talented players. You could see it early on, and I really feel like we got two really special freshman players that are going to be a big part of our future.
What do you see from the Vandy defense? I know they've struggled at times. What do you see from them overall?
They play very, very hard. Just watching them play Missouri. I mean, that's a team we just took to the wire, and they took them to the wire too. One break goes a different way, they win that football game. So they strain. They had Ole Miss at halftime in a barn burner. They play hard. It didn't matter the last play against Georgia went on the field. They're straining, and it's something that they're coached right. They play hard. They have pride, and I think they have a really good inside linebacker. We got to know where he's at all times. He makes a lot of good plays, and again, they're going to come in here and they're going to bring it, and we're going to have to sustain it for 4 quarters, take care of the football, or we're going to be in for a long day.
How do you feel about your running back depth right now? John obviously wasn't available the weekend. Those guys behind Chris haven't been quite as productive other than him. How do you just feel about that group as a whole right now?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard because I don't want to disrespect any player in our program, but C-Rod is so good, and we all understand that. And so there's a natural drop-off regardless when one of your superstars comes off the field, and so that does happen at times. And those other guys have strengths and weaknesses too. It's just sometimes they're getting asked to do things maybe they're not at their best, and that doesn't let them be the best. But they've been productive and they've done good things. They've been good in pass protection. So I'm proud of those guys. But yeah, Jatan really helps us too. Like, he's a really innate, smart player. He's got really good feel. I've pointed out before, I think twice this year we've been on the 1-yard line and handed him the ball, and he's come up with 15-yard runs, and both of them he's made 7 to 8 after contact. Like, he's for a little guy, he runs very hard and powerful. So I love when Jatan's there. We lost Ramon early in the year, and the other guys have all played. So it's been 5-6 guys out there. So it's a lot of guys outside of Chris, but I like them. They're all a little bit different.
Only one sack against Mississippi State a few weeks ago. It felt like that could have been a turning point for the O-line, and it didn't. The 4 against Tennessee and then 5 against Missouri. Is there a reason? Was it just something Mississippi State, they just didn't bring in as much as the other teams? Or did the O-line do something in that game that you want to see more?
Yeah, it's a hard one to answer. I mean, sometimes it's the way the game went. Either the quarterback got it out of his hand, or we were a little more conscientious of some of the things they did. But I like in the this last game, two of them were just, and this happens with the QB. Sometimes I feel like the pocket's been on him at times, and so you're not always as comfortable. And then you get a clean pocket, and it's not as easy for you to move up into the pocket where you need to be. And so we got some good pockets in this game where he was really clean, and then there were some times where if he'd have moved up, he could have avoided some issues too. So that's part of the process. It's unfortunate that it hasn't been perfect to the point where he's been comfortable enough to be consistent. But I think when he plays in the NFL, that's how it's going to be every week, so it doesn't matter. But it's just the way it is. And this conference is tough, man. There's some really good pass rushers. We got some young O-linemen, and they challenge you every week. And I'm not gonna lie, again, that D-line was probably the best D-line we had played up until this point this year. I thought that they have some really big, strong pass rushers, and their interior players are very, very good players. So, sometimes it's schematically teams cause problems. I thought that their D-line was very relentless and very talented.
Stoops mentioned for Will, after he's been hit so much, sometimes he'll have a clean pocket, but it's just nervous already. I guess, how do you work through a quarterback's mentality and just kind of trust the pocket even with the O-line that's giving up some wins?
It's just you're going to be doing it the rest of your life, you hope, and he just has to realize that when there's space and the cup is good and the tackles give ground, you got to move up. Good things will happen when you move up. When you move back, you hurt the tackles, and it's harder to play the position, and you're throwing off your back foot. It happens to a lot of college players at different times. And you grow from it, and he will, and it hasn't been a big problem all year. That hasn't been the issue, but it did happen a couple times in the game for whatever reason. But I think that in the end he'll move up and he'll understand that, and we'll be okay.
On that next to last drive when you scored when you entered their score, how much can that do for an offense when it struggled?
Yeah.
Off and on all year, and you struggle in that game. You can't take advantage of short fields, but they do step up and get that score when you need it.
Yeah, I mean, you can't flinch. I mean, you gotta stand in there. I mean, why did we make it happen? Because we stood in there and ripped a play-action pass, and we didn't flinch, and we were confident. And we threw a screen for a touchdown, and it got called off the board for a hold. A young receiver coming off the bench, and he held him, and he's got to let go. And then on third down, we had to respond. We very easily could have, very easily you don't get that completion. You're kicking a field goal, and it's a whole different game. So the fact that they were able to pull it off, protection was good. Will made a great throw. Dame made a great play. That helps us in the long run, and that's who we should be. We should believe in ourselves on every drive that we can pull it out.
Let's speak a little bit to their mental toughness. A lot of times you see a team that has a penalty that wipes something out. It's a drive killer.
Yeah, and it has been at times this year, but it is a testament to the guys who made the plays. We're young players. I mean, that O-line, those guys are young guys. They're battling their butts off in there, but they are learning from these experiences too. And so I do believe that there are some players that are growing up, that have grown up, and the Tennessee game, I don't want to knee-jerk because it was one moment in time. And you look at Mississippi State and in most of the Missouri game and the way we played when Will's been in there, it hasn't been perfect, but there's definitely been growth, and we are trending the right direction. So as long as you take care of the football, it's going to be hard to beat us. But if we don't, that to me will ultimately decide a lot of this. But I think we got the kind of grit that it takes to be successful when it matters most.
During his press conference today, Stoops mentioned that this Vandy team's a lot better than people perceive, especially based on the record. And you've already said that their defense plays hard, but is there anything else schematically or anything that stands out to you?
Yeah, I mean they've played a brutal schedule, and it's hard when you have. This conference every week it's a different group of relentless, offenses and tempo and pass rushers and all this, and I imagine that at times there are a couple teams in this conference that, they're 2 and 3 deep at some positions. Not everyone has that luxury. Us, them, Vandy at times, you lose a guy or whatever, it wears you down. So, yeah, but I think they have a really sound scheme and they play very hard. And their D-line, mean, they got after it. I mean, there are a couple of sack. You watch them play in Georgia. There's a sack fumble, and they're fighting their butt off. Like if you don't give them, if you let them in the game, they're going to take advantage. They're going to beat you. And you got to respect that every week. And it doesn't matter. Nothing's easy in this conference.
Rich, about being Game 7 in conference play, now that you've got this experience, is there anything that maybe surprises you, or how you got surprised, just like why it is so difficult, I guess, to win in this league?
Yeah, I mean, it's funny is the biggest transition for me back to college. So the game's a little different in Colin. It's a little different, just the style of play. But I feel like it's in the NFL. Last year we were 10-7. We were the last team in the playoffs in San Francisco, and in the NFC Championship game, we're beating the Rams at halftime, and we're the odds-on favorite to win the Super Bowl. And we lost 7 games, and we were going to be the best team in football at the end. College, you lose a game, it's like the end of the world after one game. It's just crazy how it is. Like, I mean, if we're getting ready for a wild card game or a playoff game in this town, we'd be jacked right now. It is the pressure and putting on 18 and 19 and 20-year-olds, the immense pressure that they have to learn from and grind through, and the outside influences and things that go on. It is very, very, very challenging. But what I love about this program and the players, and what I appreciate, is Coach Stoops has recruited the right types of people. He's got the right kind of grit. It exudes it into the whole program, and we're willing to fight through all those tough times. And I thought last week showed a great deal of respect to that. But to me, every game is like the end of time if you don't win it. Whereas in the NFL, you literally wake up on Monday and go to work and go, all right, we'll get next week. We're going to win 11 this year. We'll be all right. So it is interesting. But it also makes it more fun, and it's a great challenge, and I've loved it, the good and the bad.
So is that a vote for an expanded playoffs? Or
Absolutely. Oh, no doubt about it. I mean, it is. I mean, it would be different if there were 16 teams, battling it out. You'd feel completely different. But it's still, the cool part is, we're gonna have a great year. We're gonna finish strong. We're gonna get better, and we're gonna build for the future. But the guys that are here are gonna enjoy a bowl game, and we're gonna finish on the right foot. Like, you can feel it, and we're doing the right things. And today's practice represented that.
Okay, folks, thank you very much.
Thank you, Rich.
Thanks.